So for my what's for dinner this week, I decided to make all 4 meals in one afternoon just so I can take it easy the rest of the week. I have other things I need to be working on. And I'm going to make 4 calorie-friendly meals that are ranging from 400 to 500 calories and make 4 servings each. I'm going to make a creamy sausage Parmesan soup, the easiest instant pot spaghetti ever, some chicken and dumplings with gnocchi, and also a chicken Ritz casserole. So this is all that you're going to need. I think I forgot the pasta in the picture, but this is all you're going to need to make the meals. Alright, so here I'm starting my creamy sausage Parmesan soup, and that's the pasta that I forgot to mention. So here I have 3/4 of a yellow pepper and half an onion and 2 tablespoons of margarine. Just cooking for a little bit. And I already cooked my pound of Italian sausage. I'm using half for this recipe, which is about 5.5 ounces. I'm sorry if you hear noises. My cat playing with paper behind me. So here I'm just going to cook that for a little bit. And then I'm going to add, oh, I cooked it too much. Add my garlic. And here's my garlic and my peppers and onions all cooked. And I'm going to add my flour. It's 4 tablespoons of flour. And I'm going to just cook that for a little bit to get rid of the flour taste. Normally you would add more fat, but I'm trying to trim calories, and honestly it works just as good to add less fat. I'm just gonna cook this, and after that it's gonna be time to add my broth. Alright, so I'm gonna be adding this whole carton of broth. You can use any kind of broth you want. I just happen to have vegetable. So I'm gonna add my 4 cups slowly while whisking around. And it's all clumpy right now, but it's all gonna get all smooth and good soon enough. Just have to keep slowly adding and whisking. And I'm gonna try to bring this to a boil so that it thickens up. Whoops. Accident. Drop my whisk in here. Oh, hi, kitty. All right. Clean whisk. I'm a messy cook, by the way. I'm sorry. I'm a mess, and these voiceovers, I didn't want to do voiceover, but my daughter was being loud and playing with friends, and I didn't want to ask them to stop, so. And my cat is scratching, making noise while I'm trying to do this voiceover. So I'm just finishing this broth, which is taking forever. Is there so much? I'm still not used to doing voiceovers. I'll get the hang of it. Just kind of watching along as I'm trying to remember what the heck I was doing. Trying to bring this to a boil. And cleaning up. Alright, here I'm going to be adding some seasonings. I don't remember exactly the measurements. I'll put everything, the whole recipes in the description box. Adding some onion and garlic powder and some parsley. While I'm waiting for it to boil. What you want, kitty? My cat just staring at me, wondering why I'm talking to myself. Still waiting for this to boil. For some reason, it's taking forever. But as it boils, it's gonna start to thicken up. And I'll add the rest of my ingredients. All right, finally we're boiling. Yay. Back to the soup. Adding some oregano, just a little bit to give some flavor. And my 5.5 ounces of cooked Italian sausage, which is half a pound that I drained. Adding 1 cup of tomatoes, chopped up. You can use canned, drained, like a small drained can of tomatoes, but I use baby tomatoes. Alright, I'm adding my pasta. You can use any pasta you want. I used 4 ounces of bow tie pasta. You're just gonna bring everything to a boil. And I think I cooked this for 13 minutes, I would say. Just until the pasta is good and tender, but not too tender because the soup is going to stay hot for a while and keep cooking. And I'll be back once the pasta's done. There we go. It's been simmering for 13-15 minutes or so. My soup's basically done now, so I'm going to add a 1.5 cups of baby spinach chopped up. You don't have to. I love spinach. I add it to everything. It kind of makes everything look good and just a little bit more nutrients and stuff like that. I'm gonna realize that I can't do this one-handed, so there we go. Switch angles. Oh man, this is a mess. I'm sorry, but at least you get to see. I think you get the idea of what I'm doing here. Just adding some salt and pepper. Tasting things to see as I go. I don't know the exact measurements on salt and pepper. As you can see, I just use my little electric grinders, which are awesome. And I'm going to do 1/2 cup, I think. Is it 1/2 cup? I don't even... Oh yeah, 1/2 cup of 1/2. Add that to make it a bit creamier. And honestly, the soup's about done now at this point. And this was my first time making this, and it was really, really good. It was perfect soup. And I'll be adding this to my rotation for sure. And my daughter liked it too. I thought it was a little too thick. And I added a little bit of water. I think 1/4 cup. Just to make it a little less chunky. Oh, forgot. Parmesan. The best part. So I'm going to be adding 1/2 cup of Parmesan. And don't worry. Everything's going to be typed out in the description. Because I'm just watching and trying to remember the measurements. And I don't want to mess you guys up, but yeah, 1/2 cup of Parmesan to the soup, and it's all gonna melt together. It's not gonna be clumpy or anything weird. And I think this made 4 portions of 4 portions of 1.5 cups. There you go. All ready to go. And 1 serving is 430 calories of this really rich and creamy soup. And you could make this with chicken for even less calories, but I just decided to use sausage. Right, next recipe, chicken and dumplings. And I'm going to be cheating and using gnocchi that I got from the dollar store. And honestly, it tastes better than any dumplings I've been able to make. So here I have 2 cups of chicken broth. Well, water plus like the better than bouillon. A can of cream of celery. You could use any cream, like cream of mushroom, cream of chicken, whatever you like. I just happen to have that, so I used 1 can of cream celery, and a can of cream of chicken. I'm using the healthy kind, which is what I count for in my calories. But you obviously don't need to worry about that if you're not watching your calories. I'm just gonna whisk this together to make my broth. And this is such an easy recipe. It took like 5 minutes to put it all together. And that just cooked while I was making my other meals. Just whisking that and adding some spices, some garlic powder. Not sure exactly the measurements. I'll put them in the description. Garlic powder and probably onion powder, I imagine. I'll put that in everything. Oh, parsley. Just whatever spices you like. Yeah, onion powder. Pepper. I would put more pepper, but my daughter doesn't like it too peppery. Some salt. And then I'm going to be dumping all my ingredients. I have 1.5 cups of chopped up carrots. And I have half a small onion. And my 1 pound of potato gnocchi. That's from the dollar store. It was like $1.25. Pretty sure even Dollar Tree would have that. Oops, sorry. So my 1 pound gnocchi in here. And I think I have, let me see. Yeah, for some reason the gnocchi was like yellow. I don't know why. All the packages were. I have 10 ounces of white and dark chicken meat from like a rotisserie chicken, but I just used a little chicken I cooked earlier. And you're gonna cook this on low for 6 hours. And then just taste it later to see how you like it. There we go. And there we are, all done. And at the last second, I realized I had about 1/4 of a cup left of half and half. So I just threw it in here to thin it out just a little bit. And so it makes 4 servings of 2 cups for only 370 calories. And it's super good. My daughter loves this. Next up, my favorite recipe of the week. The easiest Instant Pot spaghetti you've ever made. Obviously, if you don't have an Instant Pot, just make it the normal way. But I always thought, there's no way this is going to work. The pasta is going to be all clumpy. But no, it's amazing. It works perfectly every time. I'm just going to dump a little bit of yellow pepper and my 1/2 pound of ground sausage. And I decided to change the pasta sauce that I'm using to this one I got from my food pantry haul because I felt it was like a meat sauce. It would match better. And then you just add 2 cups of water to your Instant Pot. And you add your 8 ounces of noodles. You don't have to do spaghetti, just any noodles you want. But if you do spaghetti, you kind of want to lay it down crisscross. Just kind of the way I'm doing. Just so it's not all in one big clump. You kind of do it crisscross. And you don't want to mix this up or anything. You just lay it down. I broke mine in half. You just lay down your spaghetti so it looks like that. Can't wait to get myself a tripod. It'll be a lot easier than doing this one-handed. There we go. And then you want to just put your entire jar on top of the spaghetti. Don't mix it up. Just just like this. It's going to look like it's not going to work, but I promise it will. And it's going to be the best spaghetti you've ever had. I'm just going to add a little bit of my favorite seasoning, the Kinder's garlic and buttery garlic and herb, and some garlic powder. Just whatever you like, or don't use anything, because the pasta sauce has a lot of flavor. Parsley, I like to add that to everything too. A little bit of oregano. And then just put the cover on top and cook it for 7 minutes on high. And just do the quick release after 7 minutes, or else it might be overcooked. And then you're gonna have magical, delicious, amazing spaghetti that is perfectly al dente and not clumped together at all. Just mix it all up. Like, this sauce was a little greasy, so if you use like not a meat sauce, it's gonna be less calories, but this for me made 4 servings at about 500 calories. Just gonna top it off with some Parmesan. And what I usually do, I kind of put the lid back on after it's done and the whole instant is off, just to absorb a little bit more of the liquid while I do some other stuff. But there you have it. The best, easiest spaghetti you've ever made. Next up, I'm making my rice for the chicken rice Ritz casserole. I've never used parboiled rice before, but I got this big bag in the food pantry, so I googled instructions, and I love this Tupperware container for the microwave. So I have a cup and a half of the rice. It says I don't need to rinse it when it's parboiled. And then I'm going to do 3 cups. So 1-to-2 ratio. 1.5 cups of rice to 3 cups of water. I'm going to just stir that up and cook it on, am I adding seasonings here? Let me see. I forget what I did. Pretty sure I added seasonings. There you go. Usually I just do garlic powder, salt, some parsley. And I'm going to cook this on high for 5 minutes, uncovered. And then the instructions said to do 15 minutes at half power, covered. But mine wasn't ready. It ended up taking 25 minutes total at half power. But then it was perfection. So uncovered, 5 minutes full power. And then covered. If you do normal rice, it's going to be 15 minutes. But because I've done that before. But for the parboiled rice, it took 25 minutes. Covered. And I love cooking in a microwave. It comes out perfectly, not sticky, not clumpy, not mushy. And there's my rice. Perfect. I'm just going to let this cool before I use it to make my casserole recipe. There you go. You can see tiny bit of liquid still at the bottom, but it gets absorbed as it's cooling for a little bit while I prepare the next recipe. Oh, ice machine in the background, sorry. All right, next up, I'm gonna be prepping my asparagus to go with my chicken rice Ritz casserole. I love asparagus. I got these in my food pantry haul, and my daughter actually loves asparagus too. I'm just gonna trim the rough bits. My knives are horrible. And when you're a low-income person, the last thing I can be spending my money on is knives. I'm sorry. I think that's a big reason I'm not showing myself cut vegetables, because it's kind of brutal. My knives are dull. But yeah, I'm just gonna be trimming the ends of the asparagus and laying that down in my little pan. I'm gonna cook this along with the rice casserole. It all came. Oh, I'm washing my asparagus. Sorry. I was wondering, what am I doing? I'm sorry. I'm a mess. I don't know what's happening. Thanks for putting up with me in this awkward what's for dinner. I'll get better at it. It's only my second one, and this one's a voiceover, so It's kind of a whole afternoon. It's just a blur now. I don't remember all that I did. It was a lot of work. Well, not that much work, honestly. Maybe an hour and a half to make everything. And then I'm set for the week. So I'm just rinsing the other batch of asparagus. Laying that down. And I'm going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil. I think I did 2 teaspoons. I'm trying to watch the calories, so I measure everything, but obviously you can just drizzle that on if you don't need to. And I'm kind of just going to massage that into the asparagus to help the seasonings stick better. I'm just kind of moving that around so the bottom of my pan gets also a little oily. Just rearranging. Because one pack was skinnier than the other and I didn't want that side to cook faster than the other side. So just kind of rearranging. Adding my favorite seasoning, buttery garlic and herb. Just do whatever you want. Some lemon pepper would be really good with this too. But today I just did the garlic, salt, pepper. Just basic. I thought that would go better than the lemon with my chicken casserole. And I'm going to cook this at 350 along with my casserole for, I think, 15 minutes. I like them a little on the mushy side, but they didn't come out mushy. They came out like, honestly, perfect. But just not crunchy. There you go. Still arranging asparagus. Ugh. Alright, just adding more seasoning to the other side. Now I'm gonna get started on my casserole. So in a big bowl, I'm gonna be adding the other half of my little chicken. So 10 ounces of chicken. I think this is 6 ounces of white meat and 4 ounces of dark meat. But whatever you got. Just gonna be less calories if you just use all breast meat, but using what I have. And so for my entire week of meals, all I used for proteins is 1 little rotisserie chicken basically and a pound of sausage. And that's making me 16 meals. I think that's pretty good. Keeping it low cost. And if you don't know, a lot of times the rotisserie chicken is actually cheaper than getting a little chicken yourself that's raw that you cook. I have no idea why, but I had this chicken, so I cooked it in my Instant Pot. Put the whole chicken and came out perfect. All right, so I wanted to add half a cup of sour cream, light sour cream, but I didn't have enough. So I ended up using about 1/4 cup sour cream and 1/4 cup of this onion dip, which is made with sour cream and came out really good. But you would just use half a cup of sour cream. There you go. Just using what we got. And it comes out just fine in the end. This is also super, super easy to make. And what else? What comes next? Oh yeah. You want to add a can of, normally I would do cream of chicken, but I had several cream of mushroom cans, so I'm using that. Oops, added my can of cream of mushroom. And this is 4 tablespoons of margarine that I'm going to be melting for the top. You don't want to skimp on that. Like, I know it's more calories, but it's still way less calories because I trimmed it in other ways. But 4 tablespoons of margarine. And I'm doing like a teaspoon of ranch seasoning, just to add a little bit of, oh, no, I think that's a half teaspoon. I think I used 1 teaspoon of the ranch. More parsley, put in everything, makes everything look cute. And probably, yeah, onion powder. I'll put all the measurements in the description. And my rice. We're going to be using 3 cups of this cooked rice. Go. As you can see, it's not soggy or anything like that. It's perfect rice. It works really good in the microwave. I used to do it on the stovetop. It was always like mushy and overcooked. But just a bowl with a plate on top works great. Or I have my little Tupperware container that I love. 3 cups of this rice. I'm gonna mix everything up. Good. Now I have leftover rice if I need. And if I don't end up eating it, I'm just gonna freeze it. Stir it all together. Like the normal recipe for this asks for way more sour cream and other things. So I cut the sour cream in like half, but it's still perfectly enough. And so this comes out to be about 500 calories for a quarter of the pan. I think next time, oh, I'm just tasting it to see, make sure the seasonings are good. I think next time I would do a little bit. I would do maybe, because this uses a sleeve and a half of Ritz. I think I would just do a sleeve of Ritz and maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter, just to trim the calories just a little bit. But today that's what I did. 500 calories is still not too bad for a pretty big portion of. But you can easily cut that in like 5 or 6 portions if you want. Just gonna spread it all in a pan. And that's like a 10 by 10 inch pan, but 8 by 8 inch would work. So I have random bits of crackers. Ritz crackers, it's like a sleeve and a half or about 50 Ritz crackers. I counted and I just crushed them in the package. Saving myself some dishes. And that's the best part, the Ritz. So to me, I definitely still wanted to use a good amount. Sprinkle the Ritz on top. And I think the original recipe asked for like a whole stick of butter, which is kind of insanity to me, to be put on top of the Ritz crackers. So that's what I like to do. I just kind of like to find a recipe I like and trim it, find ways to trim it so that it's less calories, but still really, really good. Yeah, the Ritz part is my favorite. It gets all buttery and you'll see I cooked it a little bit too much. I should have put the pan on the bottom rack, but I forgot that my rack was kind of like one higher than the middle and the Ritz kind of browned a little too much, but that's okay. It wasn't burned or anything. It was still good. But next time I would put it on the bottom rack. So I have my 4 tablespoons of margarine that I'm just gonna drizzle on top. Should probably fast forward through these bits. It feels like it takes so long. There you go. So that's a quarter of a cup of margarine. Just gonna, I think, yeah, a little bit more ranch seasoning on top. You don't have to. could totally skip that if you don't have it. But it just adds a little something extra. And trusty parsley that I put in everything. It's just because my mom gave me this big jar. But if I don't have it, then I just don't use it. Tastes just as good. I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 for about 15 minutes. There you go. And when my asparagus is done, I did a teaspoon of margarine, and I'm just kind of dabbing all over. A little bit of buttery flavor to the asparagus. And it's delicious. I don't know why people are scared to try, because it's a really mild veggie. It tastes kind of like green beans. It doesn't taste bad. And there's the slightly overcooked casserole, but that's okay. And that makes 4 servings, a quarter of the pan for 500 calories. And there's my plate all done. And it was a delicious bunch of dinners.